Here's what makes this discovery even more remarkable. It wasn't some high-tech expedition that found it. A local cultural heritage guard named Hamroula spotted it during a routine survey in 2017. Sometimes the biggest discoveries come from simply paying attention to what's right in front of us.
So, what exactly did Hamrullah find in that cave? I mean, we're talking about art that's older than most human civilizations.
Let me paint you a picture. These aren't just simple cave drawings. We're looking at elaborate hunting scenes with multiple human figures pursuing wild pigs and deer pigs. The level of detail is absolutely mind-blowing for something created 48,000 years ago.
That really challenges what we used to think about prehistoric humans, doesn't it? I mean, this kind of sophisticated storytelling through art that's not something we typically associate with our ancient ancestors.
Exactly right. And you know what's even more interesting? This discovery is in an area called Bulu Sipong, which means standalone hill, and it's just one of 8 archaeological sites in the region. This suggests these weren't just nomadic people passing through, they were establishing real communities.
Well, that's quite different from how prehistoric humans were viewed in the 19th century, when the first Neanderthal remains were discovered.
Oh man, you're hitting on something crucial there. When they found those first Neanderthal bones in Belgium in 1829, and later in Germany's Neander Valley in 1856, scientists just wrote them off as wild men. Even when Louis Lartet identified Cro-Magnon man in 1868, they couldn't grasp the sophistication of these early humans.
That's making me think about how these pigments have managed to survive for so long, through countless environmental changes, natural disasters, everything.
You know what's truly incredible about that? These ancient artists had to understand not just how to create art, but how to make it last. They were working with materials and techniques that have outlasted entire civilizations. I mean, we're talking about pigments that have survived for 48,000 years. That's some serious technical knowledge.
Well, it really shows how these weren't just random doodles, they were carefully planned and executed works of art.
And here's something else to consider. These hunting scenes tell us so much about their daily lives. They're not just art for art's sake. They're documenting their hunting techniques, their social organization, their relationship with the animals around them. It's like a prehistoric documentary, frozen in time.
That's such an interesting way to look at it. These caves are essentially their version of social media, aren't they? A way to document and share their experiences.
Yeah, and just imagine what else might be out there waiting to be discovered. Every time we find something like this, it pushes back the timeline of human artistic expression and sophisticated thinking. These discoveries are literally rewriting our understanding of human history.
Well, it really makes you wonder about all the other potential sites that might still be hidden, doesn't it?
Absolutely right. And you know what's really exciting? Each new discovery has the potential to completely revolutionize our understanding of human history. These aren't just ancient artifacts. They're windows into who we are as a species and how far back our creative abilities really extend. It all started with this incredible pioneer named Lloyd Kiva back in the 1950s. He basically did the unthinkable, launched the first Native American international high fashion brand called Kiva. And get this, he named it after these sacred ceremonial structures in the Southwest, which was such a bold move at the time.
That must have raised some eyebrows. How did he manage to bridge that cultural gap?
So here's what made him brilliant. He developed this signature style that took traditional Native symbols and completely reimagined them. We're talking about using abstract patterns and figures in ways nobody had seen before, combining them with these super modern cuts and color palettes that just weren't associated with Native design at the time.
That's really interesting. Like he was creating this whole new visual language.
Exactly. And you know what's wild? His success actually laid the groundwork for this huge exhibition at the Peabody Essex Museum between 2015 and 2017 called Native Fashion Now. It was the first national exhibition to really showcase how Native fashion has evolved from traditional to contemporary design.
Tell me more about how current designers are building on his legacy.
Oh man, you've got to hear about the Pruitt brothers. They're doing something completely revolutionary with jewelry design. Instead of using traditional wooden anvils and silver, they're working with computer-aided machinery and stainless steel. Like imagine taking centuries-old design principles and running them through modern industrial processes.
Well, that's fascinating. How are they maintaining their cultural identity while using such modern techniques?
That's what's so brilliant about their approach. They're showing that cultural authenticity isn't about the tools you use. It's about the vision behind the work. They're creating these incredibly sleek, contemporary pieces that still speak to their heritage, just in a completely new language.
It sounds like this is about much more than just fashion.
Oh, absolutely. This is really about cultural evolution and empowerment. When young Native Americans see designers successfully merging traditional elements with contemporary aesthetics, it validates their own experiences of living in multiple cultural contexts. It's saying you don't have to choose between being traditional and modern.
And how has the broader fashion industry responded to this movement?
Well, the impact has been huge. Major fashion houses are now collaborating with Native designers, and we're seeing Native-influenced designs on international runways. But here's what's really important. These designers are maintaining control of their narrative and ensuring their cultural elements are being used respectfully and authentically.
That's such a powerful shift in the industry.
And you know what's really exciting? This is just the beginning. As technology continues to advance, we're seeing designers like the Pruitt brothers push the boundaries even further. They're showing that tradition and innovation aren't opposites, they're actually perfect partners in creating something entirely new.
So, what do you think this means for the future of fashion as a whole?
Patterns we see in a tiny sea urchin shell mirror the swirling surface of Pluto, and that connection reveals something profound about how our universe works at every scale.
That's such a fascinating observation. The way these patterns repeat from microscopic to cosmic scales really does tell us something fundamental about nature's building blocks, doesn't it?
Well, looking at these incredible images from NASA's New Horizons mission, you can see how Pluto's surface features these amazing swirls of red and blue, follow mathematical principles we find everywhere in nature. The team at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab processed these 2015 images to reveal details that completely changed our understanding of this distant world.
Hmm. And speaking of natural patterns, have you seen how Sebastião Salgado captured those sea lions in the Galápagos? The way they move through the water at Puerto Egas creates these incredible fluid dynamics.
You know what's exactly what I find so compelling? The way these sea lions cut through the water creates patterns that, believe it or not, mirror the flow of materials we see on Pluto's surface. It's like nature keeps using the same mathematical playbook at every scale.
That reminds me of those remarkable sea urchin photographs by Luis Amédée Monte from the 1850s. The geometric precision in those shells is just extraordinary.
Oh man, those Monte photographs are mind-blowing when you consider the technical limitations he was working with. Using primitive photographic techniques, he managed to document 6 different sea urchin shell with such incredible detail that you can actually see how they follow the Fibonacci sequence, the same mathematical pattern we find in galaxy formations.
Well, what do you think it means that we keep finding these same patterns, repeating at such different scales?
Well, it points to something fundamental about how matter organizes itself in our universe. Whether we're looking at the way ice forms on Pluto's surface or the way a sea urchin builds its shell, we're seeing the results of physical forces following the path of least resistance.
The enhanced color images from New Horizons really drive that point home. Each variation in color tells us something about the composition and geological processes happening billions of miles away.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how these images, separated by more than 160 years of technological advancement, all reveal these underlying patterns. The reds and blues on Pluto's surface aren't just pretty colors, they're showing us different types of ice and organic compounds, like reading a cosmic chemistry textbook.
So it's almost like we're seeing the same story told in different ways, whether through a space probe's camera or a 19th century photographer's lens.
And that's what makes this all so exciting. Every new image, whether from space or Earth, adds another piece to this grand puzzle. Like, Salgado's sea lion photographs aren't just documenting wildlife, they're showing us how life adapts to and shapes its environment, following these same universal patterns.
The way you put that makes me think about how each new technology we develop gives us another way to see these connections.
You know what's really wild? We're probably just scratching the surface. Every time we develop new imaging technologies or send probes further into space, we discover more of these hidden patterns. The real question is, what will we find next?